Good morning, Monday the 7th of June. We are already a week into the last month of the financial year. I'm just heading to Dry Creek today, and I thought I would produce a bit of a video just to give you a bit of an update on what's going on in my life. Obviously I get busy and the vlog kind of falls down, and the In the Car with Clint stuff was meant to be enough of a communication method, but it kind of turned into a 2, 3, 6 minute lesson of the day around business, or whatever I want to call it. I don't even know what it is, but obviously for those of you that are interested in what I'm doing and what I'm thinking, this is probably a bit better long form content. So obviously we are approaching the end of the financial year. We as a company, or as a group of companies, actually I'll start with at the top. So obviously I own 4 companies that are, I guess 3 companies that are actively trading, a 4th that's being built. And it was the advice of Dion that I create a parent company to hold the group, and we have just registered Hectagon Proprietary Limited, which is my parent company for Water Pro, Railways, Landscape Supplies, Lawn Hub, or the Lawn Hub, I don't think. If you own Lawn Hub Proprietary Limited, I'd like to buy it from you. If anyone out there knows who that person is, we're having a lot of trouble getting in touch with them. I have a very strong feeling that they are a relation of someone that's connected to a large international fertilizer company, and they're just trying to cock block me, but I'm willing to pay for that business name. So if anyone can get access to that person, can you do that, please? I'm happy to pay a finder's fee for that as well. And then Dirt Cart Proprietary Limited, which hasn't really launched yet, but obviously I'll explain why for those of you that haven't gotten this far into business. So the theory is that as the companies get bigger, you can afford to obviously create different structures around your companies. I had a meeting with a couple of lawyers around estate planning, and I was given some advice on what I needed to do, to strengthen our estate moving forward as we're getting more and more assets. And so the idea is that you have a master company, and then that you can use that to push any profit from your other companies, and obviously protect your companies. So we created Hectagon. The symbolic nature of Hectagon, for anyone that's kind of hasn't clicked together all the bits, is a hectagon is a 100-sided polygon, and it is going to be the parent company of my $100 million business, as a constant reminder that we are chasing that 100, that magic number in my mind. I was asked by D'Artagnan the other day, what happens when you get to 100 million? And I think he already knew the answer. We create a new company and we chase, I don't know, $1 billion? Yeah. So I've created that company. The group of companies has already exceeded $10 million of annual revenue this year, which has been a bit of a mental roadblock for me. I was doing some coaching with Jody from the 7 Effect, and she was talking to me about how I should be talking to more people about this, and obviously I'm keen to do some public speaking, and I'm keen to do school talks to potentially help students that are not sure where they fit into the world, and they're not going to go to uni, but they're not going to be a tradesperson, and maybe I can help them with an avenue into sales or entrepreneurship, and just kind of talk through that. And I kept having this mental roadblock that I'm like, who wants to listen to me? I'm only doing $6 million. Like, it's kind of like, until you get into the tens, does your opinion really count? And I'll tell you what, now I'm doing $10 million, I don't feel any different. I feel like my opinion doesn't matter, and until I'm doing $25 million, who really gives a shit? So I guess if there's a lesson in that, it's probably you're never going to think you're ready to just start doing it, and you'll probably find that you are. So on that, if anyone's watching this content and they're looking to have me on as a podcast guest or a speaker at an event, or to come and talk to some students or at a school who might be in that position where they're not sure what they're going to do, reach out to me. Nobody ever asks, and at the moment I can say yes. At some point I'm not going to be able to, I hope, but at the moment I can say yes, and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy speaking to people about my journey, and I enjoy the idea of helping someone maybe make change the course of their life because they've been made aware of something that they maybe didn't exist in their mind. So the businesses, like I said, have done cracked the 10 million. I'd say we'll probably end up at 11 or 10.7. It just depends how the month goes. It's really quite challenging. All my businesses are the months, the successful months, are not the winter months. So it's very hard to have a strong last month for a financial year. We try at the moment, where the sales team are out there trying to create offers for people that may have money left in a budget that it isn't tied to the material getting installed at the moment. Obviously, if there's price rises coming through, we try and encourage our customers to take advantage of current pricing, even if it means that they don't need the stock. They can put it in a storage area. It's more suited to businesses that have the cash flow to do so. And at the moment, there are a lot of businesses that have the cash flow thanks to government money, and maybe they will take advantage of it. So my I guess the next 3 weeks of this financial year are about closing the financial year strong. It's around making decisions around any tax deductions that we need to make. Obviously, the government have got their instant tax write-off for vehicles of up to 150,000, I think it is. It's interesting. I spoke to my banker the other day, and he asked if we were looking at buying anything, and I said it's unlikely. And he said, well, that's good, because we probably wouldn't be able to process the loan in the time frame that you need if you wanted to borrow to do so, because of the amount of activity that they've got in the loan market. So I've done a few things. We'll probably use cash more than loans for any tax deductions. I've just bought a course, actually. I'm going to do I don't know what the course is called, but it's with the Australian Institute of Company Directors, and it's a 5-day course. Anyone that's done it will know exactly what I'm talking about, obviously. And it's designed around teaching me what I should and shouldn't be doing as a director and what I'm responsible for. I think it's meant to help me with board positions as well. Obviously, I'm on the Master Landscapers Board for South Australia, and I am very undereducated on the do's and don'ts of board membershipness. Insert the right word there. So that's a $8,000 course. So that's a tax deduction, obviously, because I am a director. If you are not a director of a company, that is not a tax deductible thing. I just learned that from my accountant the other day. If you're an employee and you pay for that course, it is not tax deductible, which kind of shit. Like, what if they want to become a director and they're just trying to further educate themselves, government? So I've got that one, and then we'll just do any upgrades, any software licenses, all that kind of stuff. We'll start looking at that, to make sure that we might prepay for a whole year of software licensing to reduce our taxable income. Now, obviously, if you haven't had a great year and you're not looking for tax deductions, then ignore that bit. Now, next financial year is going to be a beast. And this might sound funny, I'm sick of going slow, and I'm ready to deploy all of our cash and ongoing profits against more increased growth. We've just hired an internal accountant, so a CPA that works exclusively for us as an employee, to manage the functions of our administration department with the view of increasing the efficiency of our business. So not increasing necessarily the profit, because I'm happy with the margins that we make and I want to make sure that we stay market competitive. This is more around us making sure that we increase or decrease our costs. So push back on our suppliers, negotiate better deals, look at our insurances, mobile phones, electricity, whether or not we go solar, all of the things that we'll be looking at to make sure, and then obviously our efficiencies around how fast we are doing things and how well we are doing things, to make sure that we are maximizing the time that we have with our people and that we're getting more done. And then the plan will be that next financial year, the total company turnover is 15. I think we had it at 14.5 million, but 15 kind of sounds better. Now that's pretty epic, because that's going from 11 or 10.6 to 15. It is a very ambitious goal. We usually hit the goals I set, so I keep stretching them out. It'll be a very challenging year for the team, because we obviously, we're going to need to it'll be a lot of training, a lot of documentation and policies. It'll be a lot of stressful days, but if any of the team that are still working for me, that have worked for me for any extended period of time, understand this is how we roll. And I want growth and I want opportunity for my team, and I think a lot of the 80% of the team, if not 90% of the team, are on board with the growth, and they work with the company because they like that style of growth of business, and if they didn't, they'd probably choose to work somewhere else. So that's the plan. 15 mil, consolidate off the back of that, bank some profit, and start looking at expansion into other areas. Now, I had a phone call from someone the other day asking about our plans to move into Sydney and Melbourne. I always find it interesting that the amount of chatter about what we're doing, and I guess sometimes the inconsistencies or the incorrectness around the chatter. So I encourage you, if you want to know what I'm doing, just ask, and I'll tell you. The intention is for us to move into New South Wales and Victoria at some point. It is my plan and my intention to make WaterPro a national business and to become either one of the top, or one of three, or one of two in a duopoly against Reese Irrigation and Total Eden. It's really going to come down to whether or not one of them, if one of them ceases to exist or gets sold or broken up or whatever, and then we will be the second, or one of two. We might actually be number one in the one of two, but the plan is to move into Victoria at some point, and then whether or not that's from acquisition or from opening stores. I actually like the idea of acquisition now more than opening stores, and I think that I'm in a very good, or a luxurious position that a lot of the irrigation shops that exist across the country are owned by people that are maybe approaching the age where they might be looking at retiring or cashing out of their hard work and moving into enjoying the fruits of their labours. Now, the great thing is that any of the businesses that I'm interested in, or that I would be interested in, are only going to be the ones that have values that align with WaterPro, so that obviously the team that works for those businesses will want to continue working under the new ownership, because because I see the world through a similar lens to their existing director, and therefore they're not concerned about maybe getting bought out by a multinational or an investment group where they just treat people like numbers and don't really give a shit. So I hope that means that the good shops, the ones that I like, are going to be more interested in selling to me than someone else in the event that there's a two-horse race, because they care more about their people than that last dollar. So from a timeline standpoint, I would say Victoria maybe within 24 months, and then Brisbane maybe within 24 months. I would say Western Australia would be the last state that we would choose to go to from a distance, a flight time, time zone, and market. Like the market's just completely different to what I understand. So that'll be probably the last. Darwin and the Northern Territory really intrigue me. I think that there's probably, from what I understand, there's probably some low-hanging fruit there for me. I just don't want to go into those markets without truly understanding them. And if you've seen, I guess if you're watching the content that we're producing at the moment, I'm spending a bit of time understanding Victoria, with the plan that I don't want to go into a new market and be disrespectful. I want to understand what the market's doing and what the market cares about and what the market needs before I start going in there and waving a big sword. So that's the plan for that. From a landscape supplies standpoint, we get asked a lot around whether or not we're going to open up something out north. It's a maybe. I don't enjoy landscape supplies as much as irrigation. I really struggle with a lot of the things that the manufacturers in the landscape industry, there's no kind of chain of command. Like, I make stuff, I sell it to a retailer, the retailer sells it to the trade, and the retail, and that's it. We'll stay out of each other's lanes. And I think for me, the only way that we're going to continue to grow in the land, I mean, look, if we continue in the landscape supplies industry, I think it'll be from acquisition again. But I also think that there's a chance that it might be a case that we start manufacturing our own goods, or I buy some quarries. And I know that sounds really dumb for anyone that's in the quarrying industry and like, yeah, no worries, Clint, like you're going to buy a quarry. But I might. And, you know, there's probably a lot of things that I've done that people didn't think I would do. So I really don't give two shits if you think it's possible or if you think I'm going to do it, because it's on my mind. We're struggling a lot in the landscape industry with, you know, there's some paver and block manufacturers that are just won't sell to us. So if that continues to be the case, then we'll start making our own blocks, and I'm fine with that. I'm obviously not going to necessarily do it tomorrow, and I might do it in 8 years. But the problem, I've got a personality type where if you keep pushing me, I'll just do it. And so we might end up doing that. I don't know yet. And then Lawn Hub, I think so obviously Lawn Hub's going to have its biggest growth will be this year. I'm going to invest a lot of money into its the development of the product range. And when I say the development of the product range, I don't mean expanding the range. I mean making the range that we have better, making the distribution of the products more streamlined, looking at interstate, what do you call it, shipping locations. So we'll have stock stored in, say, a Brisbane warehouse, and then it will get shipped out of there to improve the efficiencies and the turnaround of delivery. And we might even open up in Queensland. It's a market that really interests me. It might be a case that we go to Queensland with a core group of 3 or 4 staff, and they move to Queensland and they open a warehouse for WaterPro and Lawn Hub. Obviously, the weather is glorious a lot of the time, and I've got staff that are interested in it, so it's on the cards. But none of this is in the next 12 months, so don't stress if you work for me and you're like, when am I moving to Queensland? Or you know, when are we getting a quarry? These are just things that are on my mind. So that's the goal. We're going to be onboarding or probably recruiting 6 or 8 more people to help us with that growth. So I imagine Lawn Hub might have a second staff member in September or October this year. I definitely know that WaterPro need to hire, I would say, a delivery driver and a salesperson in the next 2 or 3 months. And I'm still trying to find a certified irrigation designer. We might have to accept that we're not going to have a certified designer and we just have to have a designer. We'll see. So that'll get that in line. What else do we need? Railways, it'll just be continuing to grow the team. So having more delivery drivers and salespeople. That business needs to get up to about 7 mil for it to have a nice percentage of rent against sales. And I don't know that we'll do that in the next 12 months, but I think we'll do it in the next 24 months, and that's just going to be around increasing our product range, increasing the number of people that choose to deal with us rather than any of our competitors, and then that's it really. Pretty basic, just kind of rinse and repeat. So yeah, that is a bit of an update on what's going on in my mind at the moment. Yeah, like I said, if you've got any questions, ask me. I'm a pretty open book about this kind of stuff. Probably too open for some people's likings. I'm sure my accountant will get annoyed, or someone might get annoyed about me laying the plans on the table, but you know, I want it to be there. I'm trying to document this whole journey, and yeah, that's it. Be kind to each other. Talk to you soon.